Hello, everyone. Dana White lied again, and he doesn't get to do that anymore, okay? Because I'm here, and I've spent about 4 hours searching for all of the examples I need to prove that Dana White is lying through his teeth once again. He was talking about the retirement of Demetrious Johnson. If you don't know, Demetrious Johnson retired at 1FC Denver the other day. It was an emotional retirement filled with voice cracks. And Dana White was asked about Demetrious Johnson's retirement and whether or not we'd see him in the UFC Hall of Fame by John Morgan in this interview. I'm going to let it play, and I'm going to go through some of the very, very old clips I have found that I've sat here for hours trying to find, and we're gonna expose Dana White once again for being a liar. Okay, he don't get to do this anymore. Let it play and listen to what Dana White has to say.
Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I didn't know that. And yeah, no, listen. If you go back to when he was here, I was defending him from the fans.
Right.
You know, so who's defended Demetrious Johnson more than me?
He then goes on to say, of course, he's going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, no, good for him. You know, incredible career he had, and yeah, I've never had a problem with Demetrious Johnson. Yeah.
Who's defended Demetrious Johnson more than me? I've never had a problem with Demetrious Johnson. Now, it's funny Dana White should just say that in an interview, thinking that no one's going to check him on it. Okay? Because Dana White absolutely has disrespected Demetrious Johnson, has not defended him. In moments he did say, you know, people really need to start paying attention to this guy here and there. But there was an overwhelming amount of disrespect from Dana White towards Demetrious Johnson, especially towards the end of his UFC career, where he eventually got traded away like he was nothing for Ben Askren, who ended up, giving us Masvidal as a bit of a name, and some other names in the welterweight division came from that. But the ultimate end situation of Ben Askren was him humiliating our sport by being destroyed by Jake Paul because he can't throw an effective punch that causes damage. But Dana White just said it. I'm going to play it just one more time before I get into the clips, just so everyone knows what we're talking about here, guys.
If you go back to when he was here, I was defending him from the fans.
Right.
You know, so who's defended Demetrious Johnson more than me?
Take in this information. I want it to echo throughout your head as you watch the rest of this video.
Yeah, no, good for him. You know, incredible career he had, and yeah, I've never had a problem with Demetrious Johnson.
Never had a problem with Demetrious Johnson. Now, I'm going to play to you guys in this clip. It's Demetrious Johnson on the Jackson podcast, and he's talking about the situation where he was very heavily pressured to fight TJ Dillashaw when he was moving down to 125, and he just wanted some simple, you know, he wanted some simple things to be on his terms for this fight. I'm going to show you Demetrious Johnson's version of this story, and I'm going to show you Dana White 7 years ago talking about Demetrious Johnson and this decision. I think it might have been 4 or 5. I don't know how many years ago it was, but it was ages ago. Let's listen to Demetrious Johnson explaining the TJ Dillashaw fight situation. Take it away, DJ. And then we'll get into some funny Dana clips of him defending Demetrious Johnson. Here we go.
It happened. And I even told Dana White that too before I was about to fight Kyoto Horiguchi at the press conference. The big, you know, they used to do this big, this when they first started doing this big press conference. And I was like, man, just give me $1 million. He goes, I can't give you what you don't bring in. I was like, okay, fair enough. Okay, I understand.
Can't give you what you don't bring in. Fair enough. He asked for $1 million to fight TJ Dillashaw. A super fight. Can't be done. Okay? Just can't possibly be done. All good. Just asked for $1 million. He said, okay, never mind. I'm not going to push for that. All good.
Understand that. And then fast forward, I beat Kyoto Horiguchi. These keep going on. Me and Sean Shelby are talking, and he says, you should fight TJ Dillashaw. I was like, yeah, pay me $1 million. We're like, no, we can't make that happen. And then Matt
can't make it happen. Can't give him $1 million for the TJ Dillashaw fight. Fair enough. And then his coach comes in
Matt said, okay, well, we'll fight TJ, but here's a stipulation we want. If TJ doesn't make weight, which we knew he could not make 125 healthy, right? If he doesn't make 125, we fight for his belt. The fight goes on, but we fight for his belt. They're like, oh, no, we can't do that. And I'm like, then I have no leverage here.
Right.
Like, what's
in it for you?
What's in it for me? Like, same pay, no more money. What's in it for me? And they're like, well, we're just going to close the division. Like, close the motherfucking division.
We're just going to close the division. Well, close the division then, Demetrious Johnson. So in Demetrious Johnson's words, he asked for $1 million to fight TJ Dillashaw and a bit of a pay rise. They said no. He said, okay. Well, my manager, I don't know if it was his coach, I think his manager is who he's referencing there, came in and then said, well, we're going to want something here, and we don't trust that TJ's going to be able to make weight. Now, that aged amazingly, because TJ Dillashaw ended up having, if you want to believe his version of events, taking EPO in order to maintain the weight that he was at, 125 pounds. He was an absolute shell of himself for that eventual fight with Henry Cejudo. So they were right to be concerned about that. So they said, if Dillashaw can't make championship weight, I don't want to fight him because it's going to be cheap. You know what I mean? It's going to be weird if he then beats me and I've still got the belt. It's going to be a weird situation. So if he can't make the weight and it's starting to look bad, we want the option to then go, all right, let's do it for his belt at his weight and we'll make that happen instead because I want Dillashaw's belt. And the UFC went, no. He just wanted that one stipulation, according to Demetrious Johnson here. Okay, now Dana's going to respond to this in a very interestingly defending way of Demetrious Johnson.
Close it then. Like, go out there and tell the world.
They then said that they were going to think about closing the division. Remember, they were talking about closing the flyweight division. This was a big deal. I reckon if TJ Dillashaw would have beaten Cejudo and then moved back up to 135, they would have got rid of the flyweight division. They were talking about it for years.
I was like, hey guys, we're going to close the division because Demetrious Johnson's not going to fight TJ Dillashaw. And then the fans were like, well, why won't you fight him, Demetrious? I'm like, well, one, I said, if TJ doesn't make 125 healthy, we get to fight for his belt, and they won't pay me $1 million. Then they'll look at Dana White. I'm like, why don't you pay him $1 million, Dana White? Well, he don't bring no money in. Okay, well, it looks like you guys have a disagreement. Okay.
So DJ explains it very clearly, non-emotionally, very calmly, the situation that went down. Okay? Now, what happened eventually? They traded him for Ben Askren. Go away, DJ. We'll rob you against Cejudo in the rematch. I know he denies that because he's too great of a guy, but fans know damage comes first, and he won that on damage against Henry Cejudo in the rematch. Either way, they got Cejudo as the champ. They just chucked Demetrious Johnson to the side for Ben Askren. It is what it is. You know what I mean? Terrible decision by the UFC, but maybe it worked out. They got Masvidal. You know the situation. Now let's hear Dana White talk about this situation at the time that it was happening. DJ asked for $1 million. Heard it from his mouth. DJ wanted a stipulation in place where if Dillashaw missed weight, they didn't fight for 125. They would do the fight for 135-pound championship at bantamweight instead, and the super fight would still go on. Let's hear what Dana thinks about this.
Demetrious Johnson has said previously that he wants to take super fights, but he also wants to get paid. At least he said previously a couple of millions, or at least a pay raise. Are you willing to give him that?
No, you know what? He's a partner in the pay-per-view. Let's see what your pay-per-view does. You're a partner, and see what you make. Listen, you can't be in a position where you're like, I want $2 million. Fuck you. I don't care what you make.
Now, Dana repeats this throughout. He keeps saying $2 million, despite DJ on many occasions. And there's another interview with Ariel Helwani at the end of this as well, where he mentions it again. But it's basically the same thing that he did in a Jackson podcast. He repeatedly says $1 million. Dana makes a point to constantly say $2 million, just to make it seem a little bit more unreasonable to the fan base at the time. Okay? Very interesting to hear.
I don't care how much this thing sells. I just want $2 million because I want $2 million. Don't you want $2 million? Do you want $2 million?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Of course you do. Go tell your fucking boss you want $2 million. You don't give a shit what it cost him.
Yeah.
See what he says.
That would be hard, I think.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
Everyone laughs along, okay, and then Dana White does this and takes it a level further. And this is a really interesting 2-minute segment of Dana White defending Demetrious Johnson and never having a problem with him. Let it play. Now, this is a very old interview on TMZ Sports because, as you can see, this is the thing that ate current Dana White. This was when Dana White was a little different looking, if anyone remembers. A different era of Dana White, you know? Here we go.
Demetrious Johnson put out a big statement a couple days ago.
Yep.
What was your response or reaction when you heard about that?
You know, my guy Mick, who is one of our guys, has been handling that, and he said most of what he said was not true. Number one. Number two, you know, the bottom line is Demetrious Johnson is in line right now. You know, first of all, when he did his deal, he didn't want pay-per-view.
Right.
He didn't want pay-per-view. He wanted upfront money, no pay-per-view. You know, he wasn't very confident in his abilities to sell pay-per-views.
That's a really weird thing to just out your current world champion for. You know, he wasn't really confident in his ability to sell pay-per-views. We're just taking all this out of the negotiation room. Remember, the clip I showed you of Demetrious Johnson is of about 7 months ago. I think it's actually in 2024 that he did this interview with the Jackson podcast. This is as it's happening. Dana White spilling all of this information. You know, I don't think he was very confident in his ability to sell pay-per-views. So, you know, guys, we end up... Oh, why have I got a hair in the mouth? There you go. He wasn't very confident in his ability to sell the pay-per-views, guys. And he goes on to say a bit more here.
He has the lowest selling pay-per-view in the history of the UFC in the modern era.
I mean, this guy really stinks. This DJ guy, what a fucking loser, am I right? I mean, he has the lowest selling pay-per-view in the modern era. That didn't stop you putting Nunes in main events back to back to back and paying her millions. Did it? We had to sit through all of those Nunes main events. God, they stunk. God, they sold literally tens of thousands of pay-per-views. But she made millions. Let's wind that back. This is just Dana White. Sorry, guys. This is just Dana White never having a problem with DJ and always defending him. Let's let it play.
You know, he wasn't very confident in his abilities to sell pay-per-views. He has the lowest selling pay-per-view in the history of the UFC in the modern era. So, number one. Number two, I think that a fight between him and TJ Dillashaw would be something that people would actually be interested in. And could sell pay-per-views and could make money. But he absolutely refuses to fight the guy.
Absolutely refuses to fight the guy. It's a super fight. He asked for a bit more money, okay, that you more than happily would chuck at Nunes. Asked for a bit more money and wanted a stipulation in place to where if Dillashaw missed weight, the fight wouldn't be at 125 for the flyweight world championship. It would instead be for TJ Dillashaw's belt. And he even said, Demetrious Johnson, in the clip I showed you at the start, he even said, okay, I can't get the extra money. I at least want this. To where, you know, I can make sure that I've got some kind of legacy gain here if Dillashaw misses weight at flyweight. But no, he just didn't want the fight, guys.
And could sell pay-per-views and could make money. But he absolutely refuses to fight the guy.
Absolutely refuses to fight the guy. So trashing Demetrious Johnson, his world champion. Refuses to fight the guy. He's the lowest selling guy in the modern era's history, you guys. Just laughing about Demetrious Johnson's pay-per-view sales. Don't get me wrong, he wasn't a big star in the UFC. But this type of energy towards a guy you've always defended, Dana? That you've never had a problem with?
It's ridiculous.
What was your response when you heard that he says he feels like you're bullying him in the media and you're not marketing him right?
We're not marketing him right. We built a TV show around him. The Ultimate Fighter was about what an incredible fighter he is. We put him on.
The Ultimate Fighter is the Ultimate Fighter, dude. You didn't build it around Demetrious Johnson. You did a flyweight competition on the Ultimate Fighter and maybe showed a few highlights of DJ during it. It was a great season. But let's not act like we did all that for... We built a whole TV show around this guy. Okay.
Right.
We put him on Fox many times. Thank you, bro. Appreciate it.
We put him on Fox. He's your world champion. I would hope so. You were under Fox at the time. We put this guy on Fox. Wow, really going above and beyond here, Dana.
we put him on Fox many times and tried to build him, and it is what it is. It's not me.
Right.
I'm bullying you. How do you bully the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world?
Well, what are his
So now, and then he gaslights him. I'm bullying him? How'd you bully the pound-for-pound #1 fighter in the world?
options right now? Is it
Remember, he just called him the pound-for-pound #1 fighter in the world. Remember, he just called him that.
take the fight?
Yeah, listen.
He has to take the fight.
The media claims he's the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world.
Right.
You just claimed it. Let's do this one more time. Let's just do this one more time, Dana. Within seconds, you've absolutely humiliated yourself again.
It's not me.
Right.
I'm bullying you. How do you bully the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world?
Well, what are his
How do you bully the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world, as Dana just called Demetrious Johnson?
options right now? Is it take the fight?
Yeah, listen.
He has to take the fight.
The media claims he's the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world.
Right.
So do you. But let's let it play.
I think Conor McGregor is the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world. If you look at
Now, this was at a time where DJ had like 11 defenses, or he was going for his 11th defense. He was breaking Anderson Silva's record. He was on the cusp of it, or something along those lines. Crazy, never seen before stuff. I think Conor McGregor is the pound-for-pound best fighter. This was his original John Jones. So that's really nice of you to defend DJ. Now you're just denying that he's pound-for-pound #1, even though to gaslight him about being bullied by you, you just called him the pound-for-pound #1. But let's just let it go again.
fighter in the world.
Right.
I think Conor McGregor is the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world. If you look at what that really means, what pound-for-pound means, and Conor doesn't give a shit. He'll fight anybody, anywhere, anytime. And if
So that's what pound-for-pound really means. It's good to know that. It's good that pound-for-pound means anybody, anywhere, anytime, because John Jones is really living up to that right now with his treatment of Tom Aspinall, isn't he? Remember when that's what pound-for-pound used to mean? Anybody, anywhere, anytime. John Jones, one fight in 4.5 years, won't fight Tom Aspinall, is defending interim champion. Interesting looking at some of these old clips back.
Demetrious is the pound-for-pound best guy in the world, then fight TJ Dillashaw. Fight somebody that people will actually care about and be interested in, and there you go.
Is it true you guys threatened to shut down the flyweight division if he didn't?
We've
take
been
the fight?
talking. No. That's not true.
That's not.
We've
Interesting.
been talking about shutting down the flyweight division for about 3 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
You just feel like fans are.
I think that's what he was saying, because he knows that. He knows that we've talked about, doing away with that division. Had nothing to do with
He's not drawing enough
with
fans.
Demetrious. And never once did I threaten him to shut down the division. That's not. I don't. Did he say that?
Never once did he threaten him to shut down the division. He never did directly threaten him, but later on he admits to something in this next interview that he speaks on DJ with. That's very interesting when it comes to that closing down of the division threat that I want to show you guys today. So we're just going to go through yet another interview of Dana White back in the day when he was, again, the monster that ate the current era of Dana White. And we're going to listen to what he has to say because he's always so defending of Demetrious Johnson and he's never had a problem with him, guys. Let's let it play.
I'm not thrilled with Demetrious Johnson.
Hang on a second here. Let me just do something that's going to be quite funny here. Give me a second.
When he was here, I was defending him from the fans.
Right.
I'm not thrilled with Demetrious Johnson.
Let's let it play.
You're the pound for pound best in the world. TJ Dillashaw challenges you, one of the best in the world, former world champion, and you flat out deny the fight.
Flat out deny the fight. Like there was nothing more to it than DJ not wanting to fight. Okay.
Flat out say, I won't do it. I want Ray Borg.
That's not what DJ said was the situation. You flat out say, I won't do it. I want Ray Borg. That's what DJ said. You said, hey, DJ, we're looking to have you fight Dillashaw. Now, DJ seems to think he asked for a bit more money to fight a superstar in a Legacy fight, and also asked that Legacy would guaranteed be on the line if Dillashaw did miss weight. But no, that's apparently not what he said.
Nothing against Ray. Deny the fight. Flat out say, I won't do it. I want Ray Borg.
I don't know. Apparently, the way the meeting went was Dana went into the room and Dana said, "We want you to fight TJ Dillashaw." And DJ then responded with, "I won't do it. I want Ray Borg." This is what Dana in this moment would have you believe. He's always defended Demetrious Johnson, you guys.
Nothing against Ray Borg. Guys, he's doing his thing. It just, yeah. All right, hey, you want Ray Borg, we'll give you Ray Borg.
So you're going to make that fight?
Yeah. Make the fight. Sure, the fans will be clamoring for it, and ticket sales will be through the roof, and pay-per-views will be off the charts.
Well, I don't think they will be with that type of energy from the promoter of Demetrious Johnson. Yeah, we'll do the Ray Borg fight, yeah. Sure, the fans will be clamoring for it. Sure, there'll be, through the roof. Ticket sales through the roof for that fight. What a great way to promote your flyweight champion. Now, I'm just going to, hang on a second here. Go back to this little clip here, and we're going to do a little bit of jumping between them.
Listen, if you go back to when he was here, I was defending him from the fans,
Right.
So who's defended Demetrious Johnson more than me? No good for him. Incredible career he had, and I've never had a problem with Demetrious Johnson.
So you're going to make that fight?
Yeah. Make the fight. Sure, the fans will be clamoring for it, and ticket sales will be through the roof, and pay-per-views will be off the charts.
Something's just not adding up, Dana. This is the problem now. You think things are so in the past that we're just going to forget them? I don't forget. There's an elephant joke in there somewhere. But we don't forget, buddy. Okay? That's not something we do around here as MMA fans. We remember everything, pal. And I'll go back and I'll sit through hours of footage to find it. We're going to move on to another situation here at 1 minute and 49.
Does the future of the division hang in the balance? I mean, he suggested that maybe you talked about getting rid of it.
Look how angry he is at the brought up of this question. Does the future of the flyweight division, is it on the line? He said that you actually said that you were going to shut it down if you didn't do this. Look at Dana's face.
Is that a possibility?
So the night we were at Snoop Dogg, when the big thing was going on, what I said to him was, a couple of years ago, we were actually talking about getting rid of the division. There was never a threat to him, oh, we're going to get rid of the division. That was complete bullshit. And 90% of what he came out and said was complete bullshit.
I'm just going to do this one more time.
Incredible career he had, and I've never had a problem with Demetrious Johnson.
He's never had a problem with Demetrious Johnson, you guys.
There was never a threat to him, oh, we're going to get rid of the division. That was complete bullshit. And 90% of what he came out and said was complete bullshit. I just don't care. I'm not going to go out and defend.
I'm not going to go out and defend Demetrious Johnson.
When he was here, I was defending him from the fans.
I'm not going to go out and defend. I couldn't even bring himself to.
Never did I say to him, hey, if you don't do this, we're going to get rid of your division.
When someone does that, as a clearing of their name on something that happened, never did I say to him, if you don't do this, we're going to clear the division.
Never did I say to him, hey, if you don't do this, we're going to get rid of your division.
Never did I say to him, hey, if you don't do this, we're going to get rid of your division. That is a tool used by liars, where technically they're not wrong, but something was said, as he just said, at this Snoop Dogg event where they were talking with each other about the Dillashaw fight. He said to DJ, we were thinking about closing this division down a few years ago. That's what we like to call in the business world, nice bit of pressure on DJ. DJ goes into negotiations, is trying to get more money and trying to get something out of it for himself. And then Dana just maybe drops in the middle of it. Gee, we were thinking about closing down this division a few years ago. In a negotiation situation. How is that not a subconscious way of pressuring DJ into letting him know, you best watch for how much you ask for or we'll get rid of you? You know what I mean? We'll get rid of the division. Hey, Dana White, can I get some more money for the Dillashaw fight? No, kid. All right, no more money, but if he misses weight, can we do it at 135 for the bantamweight belt? No. And you know, we were thinking about closing this division down a couple years back. That being said, in a negotiation situation, is absolutely a subconscious threat. But I never said the words, if you don't do this fight, we're going to get rid of your division. I never said those words. All right.
What I said to him was a couple of years ago, we were talking about, I built an ultimate fighter around you to try to build you. He says he hasn't been promoted. Who has defended that weight division more than me?
You know, a couple years ago, we were thinking of getting rid of the division. You fat, bald liar! Let's do it one more time.
Hey, if you don't do this, we're going to get rid of your division. What I said to him was a couple of years ago, we were talking about, I built an ultimate fighter around you. That was complete bullshit. I just don't do this, we're going to get rid of your division. What I said, we're going to get rid of the division. A couple of years ago, we were actually talking about getting rid of the division.
A couple of years ago, we were actually talking about getting rid of the division. To immediately later,
talking about, I defended that weight to try to build you. Says he hasn't been promoted. Who has defended that weight division more than me?
A couple years ago, we were thinking of getting rid of the division. Who's defended that weight division more than me? You know, a couple years ago, we were talking about getting rid of it. You stupid, fat, bald fuck. I'm in town now, buddy, and there'll be no more lies, okay? There'll be no more lying from you to the MMA community, okay? Ariel's fucked off to Yahoo Sports. No one's going to watch him anymore. There'll be no more lies from you, mate, okay? We move on to another bit of this interview as well at 3:14 of this interview. Hold on a second. Hear what he has to say here.
Just, you know, it's when I talk about the Conor McGregor thing, there's the complete fucking opposite of Conor McGregor, okay? I want to roll into Russia and fight Khabib. The guy that, you know, if you ask most fans and media, say, keep him away from fucking Khabib. You know what I mean? No, I want Khabib and I want him in Russia, in his home country. It's just the complete opposite.
So DJ's the complete opposite of Conor McGregor.
When he was here, I was defending him from the fans.
Right.
You don't get to lie anymore, kid. No more lies from Dana, or I'll make a video, buddy. And then we got this situation as well where, fair enough, the situation isn't crazy, but it reveals a few things. And this is on Ariel Helwani's show a while ago. Let's listen to what DJ has to say about this.
They're going to do Ultimate Fighter. It's going to be all the champions, and they're going to fight you, and the winner gets to fight for. But I goes, well, that's fucking stupid. And then
because it kind of is stupid that back in the day, tough winners were just given title shots. But either way.
Then I was like, well, what about the guys who's on a 5-fight win streak? What about Joseph Benavidez? So they're just going to skip the line? I said that. The next day, I got a phone call from Dana White.
Oh, really?
Dana White never calls me when I was in UFC. He called.
That's very telling. Now, the rest of this conversation is what, you know, he's going to talk about what they said on the phone and how Dana called him a dumbass over the phone. Interesting stuff. Interesting way of defending Demetrious and never having a problem with him. All good. But that's very telling. Since he's been in the UFC, up until that moment where he annoyed Dana by saying something that Dana didn't like, he had never got a phone call from him. Dana White never calls him since he's been in the UFC. But until he did something that really pissed him off, then finally Dana had it within him to give his current world champion a phone call.
Called me, goes, you dumbass, you just ruined this whole thing we're trying to set up for you, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, I just found out online from a random dude on Twitch, and I gave him my honest opinion. And then he goes, Sean Shelby didn't call you? I was like, no, he didn't call me. And he goes, all right, bye. Hangs up.
So they're making moves and not even letting this guy know. They're just making that. We're building the whole thing around you, DJ. How did you find out about it? Some random guy on Twitch told me about it. Sean Shelby never called you? No. Okay, cool.
Up. Next day, I get a call from Sean Shelby. Hey, yeah, bro, we're doing this. I was like, too late.
Yeah,
too late, dude. I was like,
way too late. It's all good, though. There's another situation here as well. 23:16 in this interview. Hold on a second. There it is.
What was that phone? How long did that phone call with Dana last?
I was like, probably 2 minutes.
Wow, and he's yelling at you.
Not yelling at me. He goes, I can't believe you did that. And then I was like, I didn't do anything. And I was like, it was actually an article on Bloody Elbow that did it. And it said, oh, Demetrious Johnson reacts to a fan, da 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 da. And he goes, you put this article out there, da da da. And I was like, what article? He goes, go read it. And then I was like, okay, I'll go to bloodyelbow.com. And I called back and I was like, you have to read it. It says, Demetrious Johnson finds out live on stream from a random fan about Tough. And he goes, nobody told you? I was like, no. I'll call you back. And that was it.
Interesting. Just one more time from the top for us, Dana White.
Yeah, no, good for him. You know, incredible career he had, and yeah, I've never had a problem with Demetrious Johnson. No, listen, if you go back to when he was here, I was defending him from the fans. Right.
Just one more time, just to really hit home for you guys what we're talking about here.
And I'm not thrilled with Demetrious Johnson. You're the pound for pound best in the world. TJ Dillashaw challenges you, one of the best in the world, former world champion, and you flat out deny the fight. Flat out say, I won't do it. I want Ray Borg.
Just lying about him, coercing him into things he don't feel like he should be doing because he has no negotiation power. It's all good though, Dana. You know what I mean? Trashing him here, gaslighting him. You know? He's like the lowest selling guy in UFC history and he's asking for more money? What? Conor McGregor is actually pound for pound. All right. You know? You don't get to lie anymore, bud. And I just proved that you were lying in this interview. Give him the Hall of Fame speech. And I want you to be there to put it in his hands. How about that, Dana? It ain't enough just to do a ceremony where DJ gets his Hall of Fame. I want Dana there to put it in his hands. That's what I want. All good, though. He's always defended him, guys. He's never had problems with him. And this isn't even me bringing up the trade of getting rid of Demetrious Johnson for Ben Askren. One of the GOATs of your sport. I know he just lost to Cejudo because we robbed him, or you robbed him, sorry. I'm not secretly a part of UFC, guys. That wasn't a Freudian slip. Either way. They get rid of Demetrious Johnson from the sport for Ben Askren. I didn't even bring any of that up in this video, and I still just went off for 33 minutes of examples. Don't get to lie anymore, big bro. See you later. Goodbye.